What's up, guys? Derrick here from dasedesigns.com, back with part 5 for our How to Draw series. In today's video, I'm going to be continuing our conversation, our episodes on values, outlines, and edges. I'm going to be showing you guys the difference between the two, how you can begin to recognize these things, and just to really further your sketching, your drawing, your artistic ability, and just a different way to look at things. So yeah, I'm gonna mainly be focusing on this photo right here. This guy, got him from unsplash.com, royalty-free, copyright-free images you can use for whatever. So I'm gonna use this guy's face in today's How to Draw series. So yeah, this image will also be linked in the description. Maybe I'll put it in the comment section below so you guys can follow along if you'd like to. Feel free to check out some other images on that website. This is not sponsored or anything, but it's just a great website all around. So yeah, feel free to follow along with the image in the description. Let's get started. Alright guys, so I'm going to start off with just doing a quick outline. Just going to quickly go over his face, if I can get the right size. And then, yeah, I'm going to begin from there. So, right now I'm just starting with an outline of just like his face. Just quickly going over it. Got to get the cool looking hair up top, the curls. Looks kind of cool. But anyways, so yeah, right now, again, just outlining everything. Just getting a really rough, extremely rough draft of this guy's head, his hair, all this stuff. Just to get something to start off for you guys with. So right now I'm moving on to his ears, his neck. Here's where his shoulders would be, and then I think his his chin's like right here. All right, so we got our terrible looking chin, our neck, all this stuff, and a cool looking outline. All right, so for value, as you can see from the photo, it's kind of dark, but there's a decent amount of contrast, mainly when you split the image down in half. Like the left side is the brightest. So if we were to break down our value into like a scale of 1 through 10, 1 being, I guess you could say white, and then 10 being black, or you could say 0 being white, and then 1 being like a gray. They go all the way up to black. So throughout this video, I'm just going to talk like that. So I usually start off with the value of 10. So I start off with the darkest area, to start with, and this is my own art, or this is the art style that I currently use and currently like using. It's simple. I like a lot of contrast. That's why I mainly picked this photo to reference. So yeah, again, I usually start off with the darkest area to begin coloring in, shading in. No matter what you're doing, whether you're on a digital tablet like myself, or you're using a pencil, paper, graphite pencils. I hate those things. But whether you're using those things or not, you could do the exact same thing. With a lead pencil, you could shade in everything as dark as you can. Break your fingers pushing down so hard. I hated doing that, pushing down so hard. It used to hurt my hands. So I got a digital tablet. Now I can press nice and light, and the lines are nice and black. So, so anyways, I'm just laying down, like the darkest value. Kind of do this decently quickly. So yeah. I always start off with the darkest value, and then I just continue to do everything that's that shade. So if you look at my speed art, you'll notice I do the same thing, starting off really dark, and then I move on to my next shade of value. So yeah, I move on to my second shade of value. I'm just going to quickly blow this all up and put it all black and cool and stuff like that. So yeah. All right, so now we have basically our dark area, one of our dark areas. And so a lot of the times, people just go ahead and outline everything, right? So if I was to just outline everything, I'd just do the whole jawline, the chin, all this stuff, the neck, the outside of the ears. I'm going to keep those actually outlined. So they would do the same thing for the eyebrows, which makes sense. It's the darkest. It's, his hair, it's black in this image, so we could keep that nice and black and dark. But then they would get to the nose, and then they would do the same thing. So you're going to see me start off doing that right now, but after I get to a certain point, it's going to start to fade off and diminish, and it's not going to be the same thing. So this is a terrible line right there, that little crease on his cheek, but who cares? All right, so right now that's like the darkest side. And one thing that I also do to get these dark images and visuals in my head is to squint your eyes. This is something my sister was recently talking about. I've been doing it forever. She recently reminded me, when you squint your eyes, it's an easy way to kind of like darken things up, and I guess you could say even add more contrast. So when I'm squinting my eyes looking at this image, the left side of his face lights up, and everything on the right side is pretty much dark and black except for this cheekbone area right here. So if I was to continue to, squint my eyes and then just looking at that, now I can pretty much piece out this area, and this would be a bright area or even just a lighter value area. And then, around his eye would be nice and dark, and, kind of like his eyelid, still nice and dark. I would just black all this out just so it's a lot of contrast. It just looks so cool. I love this contrast style. If you don't, that's fine. If you're drawing more realistic, you don't have to black this out. You could just add more value. So considering I just said that, so for you for you, the hair would be the darkest thing. But then, this outline that I just created, here's where you begin to shade this area in. You would do even more shading right here because it gets darker. And then, it would meet up with the eyebrow. And then kind of like on his cheek, instead of an outline, we would create an edge. And that's where you have a value where you begin to shade in, color in something. You let, the color, the shading, and the value do the talking, so to speak. So instead of doing a nice hard outline like that, you would, let the shading do the talking, like I just said. So, so you would continue to shade all this thing in, obviously take way more time, have a lot more fun, pay attention to more detail. And so yeah, and then there's kind of a light spot, so we wouldn't do too much shading right there. But yeah, we would continue to shade this in, and all of this is nice and dark as well, but it's not black. So yeah. So as you'll notice, you'll hear that I said instead of adding an outline, like we did for our neck and pretty much everything, we would add in an edge. So the difference between an edge and outline, as you can see, our ear right here is outlined, so it's a line on the outside of something. So if I was to continue to outline everything and outline his nose even, which is not the best thing to do unless you want it to look super cartoonistic. You continue to outline his outline his nose, do the same thing like I said for his chin right here, or his his jawline, and then where his cheekbones are right here. And this creates a really cartoonistic style. If you're trying to create something realistic, one thing to do, again, like I was saying, is to begin to understand the difference between outlines and edges, and then where to put them and where they should and shouldn't be. So on this side, you'll notice the left side of the bridge of his nose, it's very bright in comparison to this one right here. So this one on the picture I'm looking at is maybe like a 7 or 8, and then this right here is maybe like a 2 or 3, or and anything below that. So we wouldn't really put an outline there, because then it wouldn't really match our photo, because then it would blend in with this side right here. So instead, what we would do again is what we would do right here. So we would just begin to shade in and add that value to create an edge if there's supposed to be an edge there. Like there's a slight edge right here, just because the value on his nose right here begins to get darker. Begin to do some shading on this side of the nose, and like you could potentially leave this blank, and people, you'll still be able to understand that it's a nose. If you continue about your shading, you add the needed amount of shading. So that's something that a lot of people do. I've done it myself. Sometimes I do it, depends on what I'm drawing. And yeah, so if you're not shading with a pencil and you're doing it digitally, you can do what I just did, or you can just choose a different color, so maybe a gray or a light gray or a dark gray, and then you would leave this blank. So potentially we don't even have an edge in this area right here, but for the most part you can still understand that it's his nose, because the contrast and the value on the other side helps tell that story. And usually just by putting certain areas nice and dark, that value, like if we were to leave this all blank, you can still get an understanding that it's a nose there, just because usually the areas right here where some people stick their fingers in, it's usually nice and dark in there, so that helps define that it's a nose. There's the nostrils, and then as you begin to add in your shading, add in your value, it begins to help shave and display that nose without actually having an outline there. So that's something to keep in mind. And this is actually starting to look kind of cool. So this is something that I would also do on his cheekbone. As you can see, there isn't a line right there, but rather there's value separation from the ear, to create an edge in a certain spot, which is probably about right here. So it begins to get darker inside of his ear. Right here, that value is darker. I would probably just put this all black, and then use like a dark gray or something right there. And there's not an outline, but you can still tell that this is kind of like the edge of his cheekbone. But if you wanted to make it pop out more, you could add in some value, maybe a lighter color like a lighter gray, or just shade it in right here. He has a lot of stubble on his face, so maybe you could over exaggerate that in your illustration. So yeah, hopefully so far this has been helpful for you guys. So again, learning where and where not to add edges and where not to add outlines, can really help you create something more realistic, and can also create something more unique, something more abstract, something more cartoonistic, like my designs and my artwork, which is a little bit more fun for me, just because I have more instances to use a creative license where it doesn't have to be not exactly perfect. You gotta love a creative license. You get them for free, so be sure to give yourself one if you would like to. But yeah, I'm just gonna continue on this. So for my art style, I would most likely make this all black. And if I was to have even more fun, again, I would just over exaggerate with stuff just so it looks different and unique. Like this is kind of like a slight white spot right here. It's a little bit smaller, but maybe I would just leave that blank for now. Again, just so it looks fun and more abstract. And then continue to go in our ears right here, going really quickly right now. So yeah, then obviously this will be very dark, so I'd go in with a dark gray. And then again, as I was starting earlier, I was just putting this all black. I love this style, black and white. It just looks, really bold and edgy and just dope in general. So, but yeah, as you guys can see, you could do the same thing on the chin. Just another example for you guys, just like that. There's no line, technically there's no edge, but these skinny lines that kind of round out from our outline of our chin. You could say even the value of our chin, that we did with our black outline. If this was just to be a black and white portrait, where there's no shading, there's only colors of black and then white only. Like we have these skinny lines right here. Where the skinny line right here, and it's not necessarily an outline because it doesn't follow through, but you still understand that that's kind of like the edge of his chin and where his jawbone begin to where they begin to show and shine through. So that's something else to keep in mind, all depending on your art style, whatever you want it to look like. Just for another example, you can do the same thing for the lips. So sometimes people will just go ahead and outline the lips, right? So we could say homie's lip is just like this. Yeah, the homie. I'm drawing his face. So yeah, we could say that's his lip right there. We got the outline on the top and on the bottom. But another thing you could do, again, is create edges and shy away from outlines whenever you can if you want it to look more realistic. So as you can see, the top part of his lip is very dark, especially on this right side, and then it begins to lighten up over here on his left side. So maybe I would use a dark gray or something like that. So yeah, there's kind of like a dark spot right here. We go in something like that later. But anyways, and that kind of helps portray that there is a lip there. And then there's usually shading on the bottom, so you can over exaggerate that shading a little bit if you want to, and you could bring all this in with our black, then it doesn't really look right. So you could just shade this area in. So instead of using black, if you're on a pencil and paper, you could just shade that in. Just add some value. Do the same thing right here. Shade that in. So instead of an outline, again, we're just adding our edges, so you can see the difference, see the definition from the lips and the rest of his skin that goes to his chin right here, and that would round out. This would be shaded for the most part. This actually goes down lower, kind of like this. So yeah, so we could just continue to shade and rough all that in. This would kind of be shaded in right here. Maybe we add some more shading right there. So yeah, instead of using outlines, we work with our edges, we play with our shading, our different colors. This could all be a gray, you could imagine that, instead of our deep black that we have right here. And yeah, so you would just continue like that. That's kind of like my basic tutorial and understanding for the difference between edges, outlines, how you can, implement value and, really play with those different things. A great illustration, photo, artwork usually has a mixture of all of them. Like as you can see, this one has an outline right here. I mainly put the outline because the background behind him is fairly dark, and I wanted it to stick out from the background. But if you wanted it to blend in, you could do the same thing we did right here. We could go like this and just kind of thin out those lines a little bit more so it doesn't stick out so much. And now you can already see it's beginning to blend in with the background very easily if I could push the eraser. So So yeah, now you can see it's already starting to blend into the background with just that simple difference, with that eraser. But I like the other style better, so we're gonna keep it that way. All right, so yeah, guys, hopefully this video has been helpful for you guys. It's been fun creating it, the whole series, part 1, 2, 3, 4, and now number 5. I'm not sure if I will make another video. Maybe I'll do more videos like this. If you guys would like to see more stuff like this, maybe like a how to draw something specific, like a series on that, like how to draw a face, how to draw a car, a shoe, a MacBook, trash can, eyeball, eraser, a hand with, index finger pointing up, maybe an emoji or something. I don't know, anything. If you guys would like to see something like that, be sure to leave a comment in the comment section below, and I'll be sure to get to those. If you would like for me to continue this series, and you have any ideas or something you would like for me to go over, be sure to leave a comment. Other than that, this will most likely be my last episode. So yeah, I hope you guys have enjoyed this video, every video leading up to this video. And yeah, guys, it is Derrick from dasedesigns.com, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.